When I first started this channel, the first video that I ever made was on the Sheaffers Compact I, which had the gold trim and the 14 karat gold nib. And it also had the window on the barrel. Unfortunately, I don't have that anymore. I go through binges and purges, and that was part of the last purge that I went through, and now I'm on a binge again. This is the Comp I, which, as you can see, has the chrome trim and a steel nib, and you can see it says Comp I medium, and then the dollar sign. This was a $5 pen. The Comp II was a $10 pen, so this was half the price, and that's just for that. Now the pencil here, that was $3.95. And these were produced between 1960 and 1964. If you watched the video on the Comp II, there were windows on the barrel so that you could see when your ink was running low, whereas this one doesn't. But the first era, or the first productions of these Comp I's, did actually have the window. And all the Comps, Comp I's, Comp II's, were cartridge pens. You can see this one had blue ink in it at one time, but I think it's still new old stock. Maybe the ink just ran out or somebody used it. You can see there isn't much wear on this. Somebody may have worn off the $5, so they didn't want people to think it was a cheap pen. The steel nib is inlaid. It's got the diamond shaped traditional Sheaffers. It's got the 3 little posts here for holding the cap on nice and snug. Taking a look at the end of the barrel, it's just flat, just kind of comes out almost straight and ends. Nothing elegant there. And then you have the traditional, I would think, the imperial style squared off cap. And these are nice little pens. You know, this one's in really good shape. How much it was used, I don't know. I like stuff that's new old stock, which means I have no intention of putting ink in it. And the pencil, this was $3.95, but really there's not much of anything left except for the dollar sign. And this one, you turn the cap section to retract the ink, and again, chrome. Dimensions on the pen are capped. It's at 4 3/4 of an inch, or 12.1 centimeters. Uncapped, it's at 4 inches. It's a small pen, 4 inches or 10.2 centimeters. And then it posts high on the barrel, the cap does. So it does give you a good 5 5/8 of an inch, or 14.4 centimeters of length posted. Comfortable feeling pen. You know, the grip section is medium. It's not too short, but it's not too long. And the lip here, where the barrel meets the grip section, is a tad bit on the sharp side. Barrel diameter is 11.5 millimeters, and as I do with the Sheaffers, clip length on this is 30 millimeters, and you can see the clip does not have the white dot, which the 2 does. Nib length on this is 24.7 millimeters. A nice little pen. And with the pencil, the length is 4 5/8 of an inch, or 11.8 centimeters, and the barrel diameter is 9.4 millimeters. And the box was damaged. It was torn. I did put these little brass sheets I have. I just cut them out to hold that together because it was flopping over, and you know, the box looked like it was crushed at one point. So I wanted to get it so it fit snugly and nicely and didn't get any more damaged. You have the little instruction booklet here, which I think I've shown that before with other Sheaffers. And as you can see, it was Sheaffers. These were produced between 1960 and 64, and Sheaffers, as I've mentioned before, ditched the S, went from plural to singular. I believe it was sometime in 64, possibly 65. The weight on these things, or this thing, 13.1 grams. Little light pen. We'll do the pencil too. 12.69. And I need to grab these two. Disposable Bic, 5 grams. Traditional Parker Jotter, 15.36 grams. You know, and the thing about these things is, and one of the things that I really regret about the purge that got rid of the Comp II was they're not easy to find. They are not as easy to come by as, say, the Imperials or some of the other fountain pens. I don't know if people are just keeping them, or they just didn't sell a whole lot of them, or maybe they just got thrown out over the years. But you know, I like stuff in new old stock condition, and you know, I think if you want a smaller, nice, because you know it does have somewhat of that Imperial look with the slightly bulbed out cap here, and just a really good looking pen. It looks really nice posted. I'm not really the biggest fan of where it just kind of flats out over there, but you know, I didn't design it. I wasn't alive when this thing was made, and I had no control over that whatsoever, and I would imagine Sheaffer knew what they were doing. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if you can find these at a good price, I think that's a great thing. And my father collected pens, my grandfather collected pens, and a lot of my older pens are from my father's collection, who got them from my grandfather, and you know, they were buying pens, and I started buying pens when I was, I guess, 17, 18, 19 years old. So I have my collection, plus I have some of the older pens. I guess if my father left a pen in my bedroom or something like that, I'd hold on to it. You know, just different things. My godparents, they were older people, they were neighbors, and I guess they were probably in their 60s, maybe even older when I was a child, and they would babysit us, and they always liked having kids around, so they'd let us dig through the drawers, and if I found a cool pen, I'd say, can I keep this? And if, yeah, keep it. I don't have any use for it. It's in the drawer. I don't use it. You know, that kind of thing. And my mother, I talked to her yesterday because Christmas is coming up, and she told me what she wanted, and I told her, I said, you know what I want. And she said, money. I said, yeah, well, money's good, but I want the pens. Because she's been telling me, she's telling me she has these pens that have been sitting in a drawer. And I said, well, next time you're passing by this way, just drop off the pens. Because she plans on driving down to Florida at some point, or taking the train, or doing something. And well, taking the car on the train with her. But anyway, I told her just in the pen. She says, oh, they're in a garbage bag somewhere. I'm like, well, you grab the garbage bag and bring the pens to me. I want to see what's in there. I'm curious to see if there's any really nice stuff. And I told her, I said, I don't care if it has the 14 karat gold nib, or it has a steel nib or palladium nib. She's not going to know the difference between a steel or palladium nib. But if it's gold, she's going to look at it to see if it's 14 karat or plated. It's not going to mention it. But anyway, I told her that's what I want. I want the rest of my father's pen collection. And I knew she threw a lot of stuff out. And I asked her what, because he collected every pen. I mean, it was I have bags from 20, 30 years ago of Bic pens or Papermate pens, you know, just pens that were never open. I have Papermate pens, Parker pens, Sheaffer pens. I have all sorts of stuff. I've got like 2 boxes just full, if it's cheap Bic or, yeah, something like this, and it doesn't write anymore, it goes in the trash. But I'm afraid that she threw out even some of the ballpoint pens, something like the Jotter here. I'm hoping she didn't throw that out, because you can put the refill in it. And anyway, I'm babbling on and on. So yeah, so I think great little pen. If you can find one at a good price, I think that's good. If you can find a Comp 2 like the one that I had at a good price, I think that's you've got a really nice little pen there. Anyway, that's my opinion of the Sheaffer Compact I pen, and they did come out. Let me mention one more thing I didn't mention before. This color is called dark gray blue gray, I think it is. They also came in burgundy black. There was a green, and then there was a dark blue or navy blue. I'm not sure whether they called it dark blue or navy blue, but anyway. So if you enjoyed the video, click like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and bye.